We are back. eSIM Studios YouTube channel. We are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. Give me just 1 second. All right, we ready. Now, let me send out the link to let everybody know that we are live, and we'll get started. We got a lot to talk about today. How does the volume sound? Let's see. Sounds good. Always got to do volume check. All right, so check this out. Let me send this out across all socials, and we shall get started. We got Pixel 11 series to talk about. We have foldables to talk about. And let me know down in the comments, did you purchase one? Because it seems like everybody got a Fold 8. Pretty crazy how many people have posted, especially on TikTok. There are a ton of people with this foldable on TikTok. Now, I've seen some people say that they're returning it. I've seen some people say that they don't like it. But for the most part, it's getting a ton of great reviews. So we'll talk about it. Okay, let's see. Sharing this. All right, almost done. Almost done. Yikes. Let me switch monitors. Let me share this. Where are we? Copy link. And let's see here. All right. Let me load this photo here. Okay. I think we're good. Now, how does this, is the music too loud? Let's see. I guess I could turn it down a little bit.
Okay.
Now we're good. All right, let's get the show going. Sorry about that. It takes me a second to check the volume and send the link out to all the socials. So, welcome back, eSIM Studios. So, I want to remind everybody, if you need, I got a bunch of good deals down in the video description. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's underneath the video description. If you're watching this on TikTok, I don't, but on YouTube, I guess TikTok is a little more litigious or stingy when it comes to posting links and stuff like that, especially on a live stream. But if you're watching this on YouTube, I want to remind everybody, I have a ton of good deals down below in the video description. If you need a good VPN, I have 2 or 3 really solid VPNs, fantastic deals where you essentially get full coverage VPN use. I think it's Surfshark, NordVPN, and ExpressVPN, which I'll use. Down below, I got tons of links. Lyca Mobile is down there. Google Fi, tons of good deals down below. So please check out those links if you're looking for any good deals whatsoever on any tech-based products and/or services. What we're going to get into today is the leak of the Google Pixel 11 series. Now, the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL is being launched on August the 12th, which is here on Wednesday. We're going to do a live stream. Now, Google is changing up their times a little bit. So on August the 12th, Google is going to have their official launch at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Now, you will be able to pre-order the devices at 9 a.m. So you'll be able to order the devices in the morning, and then at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, I might see if I can we might do a live stream and then watch that. I don't know how, I'm not sure if I've live streamed a Pixel event. I'm not sure if they'll copyright strike me on YouTube. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. We can at least watch some of it, but come Wednesday, if you're a Pixel fan, even if you're not, if you just want to talk about the device or see what they have to offer, because we essentially know all the specs at this point in time. But these companies, Samsung, Google, they'll always unveil a new software feature, something like that here that we're unaware of. So I'm sure they have some tricks up their sleeve and stuff like that. But Wednesday, we got full Pixel coverage. Today, the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL passed through GeekBench. So we have the latest updated GeekBench scores, benchmark scores on the most controversial spec of them all, which is the heart and soul of the device, the CPU and GPU. But we're going to review those scores. Now, interestingly enough, it's catching some flack online. No surprise. But there's a little catch. There's a little asterisk that I want to clear the air. And if anybody dogs it or is putting out misinformation, send them the link to this video. Send them the link to my profile, to my page, so we can clear the air on where everybody's getting tripped up on this Tensor chip, because it's not as bad as we all thought it was, if that makes sense. And we also got what it actually looks like. So we have IRL, in real life, photos of the Pixel 11 Pro XL, a few different colors, actually look pretty nice, that we're going to get into as well. So let's see here. Let's start with the most important piece, the benchmark scores. There's been a lot said, rightfully so, in the past in regards to the Tensor G6. Now, underwhelming scores, right? I mean, Google's done it to themselves. They have nobody else to blame but themselves. But remember, Google has said and has mentioned, and I actually believe them, they're not out trying to take the crown of the best performing CPU, right? That's not their deal. They're into AI, nice, fluid operating system, and it is, right? But they're not going to win any benchmark kings. They're not going to win any benchmark tests and scores. And it's been that way ever since they switched to their own CPU, 6 years ago. So one cool thing about this CPU, before we get into the scores, is it will be the very first 2 nanometer. I take that back, because at least here in the US, it'll be the very first 2 nanometer chipset, meaning the nanometer means the foundation of the chipset. It'd be like if a home was a CPU, the size of the foundation would be the base, the nanometer. So most flagship CPUs, or I shouldn't say most, all flagship CPUs at this point are on a 3 nanometer chipset, and they're going to reduce it down to 2 as time rolls on. The foundation of the CPU, of the chipset, gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Now that allows the companies to essentially run the same amount of power or more power on less battery. Give me 1 second. So the Google Tensor G6, that's in the Google Pixel 11 series, is going to be the very first 2 nanometer chipset here in the US. Now, previously stated it'll be the first 2 nanometer chipset in the world. I was corrected, and yeah, I knew this and I forgot. So I guess theoretically or technically it won't be the very first 2 nanometer chipset to be released, because just last week Samsung beat the Google Tensor because the Samsung Exynos 2600 CPU that is in the global variant of the Z Flip 8, Samsung's running a Exynos 2600 in those global variants of the Z Flip 8, and that's actually on a 2 nanometer chipset. But here in the United States, the Pixel will be launched with the very first 2 nanometer chipset. Now, the iPhone 18 series, the Pro and the Pro Max, and the iPhone Ultra, and that's going to be launched in September, that's going to be on a 2 nanometer chipset as well. It's just more efficient. It can actually be just as powerful, if not more, theoretically more, as time goes on. It just uses less power because it's sitting on a smaller foundation. So the Pixel 11 series hit GeekBench, and to clarify things, there's a brand new version of GeekBench, and I was seeing a lot today online of people dogging these scores, saying, "Oh my God, look at these scores! It's the same old Pixel, same old Tensor. The scores suck." But if anybody watched my yesterday's video that I uploaded on the Flip 8, well, I did a benchmark score on this Flip 8 on the new GeekBench 7 in the old traditional GeekBench 6. Why did it zoom in? Messing up my whole freaking stream. How do I do this? Stupid. The new GeekBench 7, you would think newer application, newer testing makes for better scores, right? Incorrect. It's actually the opposite. So this Pixel 11 Pro XL was tested on the GeekBench 6, the traditional one everybody is used to, that's been out for years, And they also tested the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL on the new GeekBench 7. Now, as I mentioned, GeekBench 7 shows lower scores across the board, no matter what device you test it on. So people were taking the new, and I don't think people are aware of this. Like, I just don't think people, and that's why when the leak of the Pixel 11 Pro XL GeekBench scores got put out to the public, people automatically pointed to those GeekBench 7 scores and said, oh, look how low they are. I knew they were low. Well, yeah, but on my video yesterday where I did a benchmark test on my Z Flip 8, the scores are lower. And I did a GeekBench 7 test on the S26 Ultra, and the scores are lower. And I did a GeekBench 7 test on the Motorola Signar, and the scores are lower. So that's why you're going to hear everybody say, oh, the scores suck. Well, actually, I have scores that we're going to view in just a second with the Pixel 11 Pro XL on GeekBench 7 and GeekBench 6 that everybody is used to. So we'll get a chance to see what it looks like compared to all the other flagships on GeekBench 6 and GeekBench 7. Just to let you know where the Pixel 11 Pro XL stands when it comes to just raw power and performance. So let's go ahead. Let's pull up this picture and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if you're watching me on vertical, on TikTok or on YouTube, it's probably not going to get the best view. But if you're watching me on horizontal, you should see it fine, meaning how YouTube is regularly viewed. So if you can't see it on vertical, if you're watching this on TikTok or on YouTube in the vertical form, I'll let you know what it is so you're not having to go search around for my horizontal view. But let's look at this. So if you're watching me on horizontal in the traditional format, 16:9, so let's just look at the two latest Snapdragon CPUs. So we have the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, which is in the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 8, the best of the best in the CPU world. And then we also have the CPU in the Motorola Signature, which is the watered down version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, which is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5. They took the Elite off of there. It's just the Gen 5. And it's still very powerful, right? It's considered a flagship CPU. But I wanted to give you both test scores with both of Snapdragon's flagship CPUs this year on GeekBench 6 and GeekBench 7. So let's compare the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL, GeekBench 6 and GeekBench 7 scores to Snapdragon's latest and greatest, the 8 Elite Gen 5. So on the on the right side of the screen, if you're watching me on vertical, it's cut off, but I'll tell you what the benchmark scores are. So on the Pixel 11 Pro XL, GeekBench 6, that's the one everybody's familiar with. It had a single core score of 2501. 2501 and multi-core score of 5384. 5384 multi-core score, single core score of 2501. Now let's go look at the Z Flip 8, which has the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. And the GeekBench 6 scores on that was, it's really small, was 3582, and multi-core score was 10539. So GeekBench 6 Pixel 11 series scored 2501 compared to the Snapdragon 8 Elite's 3582. Again, respectable for the Pixel. It's not horrible, but it's respectable. Now look at GeekBench 7. Now everybody was looking at GeekBench 7 scores today and saying, oh my God, look how low it is. The GeekBench 7 scores have the Pixel 11 Pro XL at 2112, and the multi-core score of 5196. That's what everybody was looking at today and saying how incredibly low it was. Well, it's on the new GeekBench. So let's go back to the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 and see what that scored on the new GeekBench 7. New GeekBench 7 was 3,068, and multi-core score was 10,043. So you can see how just that new GeekBench application dropped essentially 500 points off of the single core score of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. So again, I wanted to include both just so everybody can be clear. So there's a noticeable difference between the Tensor G6 and the Pixel 11 series and the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. A noticeable difference. Pixel still has a respectable score. But what about the watered down flagship version of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 that's in the Motorola Signature? Well, on GeekBench 6, the Motorola Signature scored 2918 compared to the Google Pixel 11 series on GeekBench 6, 2501. So 2918 versus 2501. And then the multi-core score of the Motorola Signature and on the GeekBench 6 test was 9266 compared to the Tensor G6's 5384. Now, look how much it drops off when you go to GeekBench 7. So GeekBench 7 test for the Motorola Signature with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, single core score of 1346. And look at what the Pixel scored. 2112 versus 1346. So on the GeekBench 7, the Pixel outscored the Motorola Signature. And on single core. Now, multi-core score, it didn't quite beat the Motorola Signature, but it got close because the Motorola Signature on the new GeekBench 7 scored 6882. And for the Pixel 11 Pro XL scored 5196. So that gives you, so look, it's not complete and total trash. It's just not. Now, I know everybody wants to dog on Pixel, and yes, I have been guilty of that too. I will be the first to admit. I've dogged on Google Pixel Tensor, and rightfully so in the past, but it's not all bad, right? It's not all bad. So I think, and look, we're going to get one, and we're going to be doing testing here in-house. So if you're a Pixel fan or you're on the fence, think, should I get it? Should I not? I don't know. Subscribe to eSIM Studios, and we will do all the testing for you, and we will showcase what the device can do. They're respectable. They're not total trash. Now, I think the multi-core score could get better, and they probably will. And look, this is the very, very beginning, right? The developers can optimize the operating system. These typically, for all you iPhone users out there, we're quite opposite, because with Android devices, with flagship Android devices, they typically get better over time, meaning the developers fine-tune the operating system, tweak it, make those little subtle changes to increase performance, the fluidity of the operating system. I know you iPhone users are used to your iPhones getting shittier as time goes on, meaning Apple degrades and downgrades the CPU, right? Or they'll do subtle little things to, with essentially make you upgrade. Apple wants you to upgrade, so they mess with your phone. You could have a ton of bugs after upgrading to the latest iOS. Well, typically with Android, we don't have that problem. So these scores will get better over time. Now, will they double in score? No, but it will get better. I can promise you that. So multi-core score could be a little better, but single core score is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty respectable. So I think this did a little better than what I had expected. So I'm happy with it. Well, I shouldn't say happy with it, but I'm okay with it. I'll put it that way. I'm okay with it. I'm all right with it. Let's see here. I am okay with that. Now, let's talk about the specs real quick. We'll go over the specs. So, you're gonna have I've been seeing a lot of publications online saying this is not the Pixel to upgrade. There's a ton of them out there, right? Skip this, skip that. I've seen a lot of people say that they're just frankly not upgrading, and that's fine. I'm not here to change your mind. I will never tell you, oh, you got to buy this device. Everybody's financial situation is different. You might not even need to upgrade, right? Because let's face it, you can purchase a flagship phone and sit on it for a good 3 to 4 years without having to upgrade, right? But if you're one of the ones that are thinking about upgrading, right? Maybe you have a Pixel 7 series, a Pixel 8 series, or even a Pixel 6, right? Might be time to upgrade. Now, if you have a Pixel 10, yeah, you might not need to upgrade. But if you're still wanting a little more, or you wish your Pixel 10 series was a little more refined, and maybe you like it, but you just want better battery life. Maybe you want a little more power. Maybe it's the little things that you're looking for. Well, I think this Pixel 11 series is out to fulfill your needs, essentially, because I think with this upcoming Pixel 11 series, they're tweaking the design to make it look... The Pixel 10 is a really good phone, but with the Pixel 11, they're just tweaking some things to improve upon. The looks, for one thing, they're taking the half moon away from the back of the camera island. It looks very nice. Now, you're getting the new Tensor G6 CPU that we just reviewed. You're getting an all-new display. Samsung's latest and greatest OLED display. You're going to get that right out the box. The M16 OLED panel. It's a absolute stunning display. It's going to be life-changing as far as just how little it drains the battery. It drains up to, I believe, 70% less power than the previous generation. Right? So you're getting a new OLED display, you're getting a new processor, you're getting a all new modem. Now, I know there's been some people out there that have had issues with the modem. That's been a lot of cause of some people battery drain, right? I know some people have been hit with a battery drain bug. The modem has something to do with that. If it's always searching for a signal, if it's always searching for a better signal, if you have a weak signal, it's always going to be searching around for the best signal. Well, this new modem solves all those issues. You're going to be able to take full advantage of T-Mobile's new 5G standalone network. AT&T also has a brand new 5G network that the Pixel will now be able to hop on and fully use. You're getting new UFS 4.0 storage. That's a big deal. You're getting all new UFS storage. You're getting a little bigger battery. It's not a drastic increase in battery size, but with all these little changes that they're making, the new more efficient CPU, the more new efficient OLED panel, the new more efficient modem, the slightly bigger batteries, Google is saying you're going to get over 30 hours of battery life. 30 hours of battery life. Now, here's one of the more impressive things, and it's so impressive, I'm going to have to wait and see it to believe it, because when I tell you this, it's kind of hard to believe. I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard it, I was like, that can't be right, can it? Google is claiming that this Pixel 11 Pro and Pro XL can charge up to 55% in just 5 minutes. 55% in 5 minutes? Huh? That's like, that would be like the first, maybe the second fastest charging phone on the market. And Google is known for having some of the slowest charging phones ever. So they would literally go from slowest charging to fastest charging in one generation. Now we're going to test this out. Trust me, I thought it was a misprint. I had to do my own homework, and yeah, it says that on their marketing material. Charge 55% in 5 minutes. Okay, but if that's real, if that's a real thing, you're getting incredible charging speeds. I mean, it's like everything that I disliked about Pixel, they're starting to turn around. They're starting to fix. They're starting to change. They're starting to improve upon. And it was already a really good phone. And I think this year, if everything turns out to be true, I think you could have a badass phone on your hands. A badass phone. Now, it's not just all about specs. It's just not all about specs, because we all know you can have the best spec phone out there, meaning you can have on every spec sheet, on every line, you can have the very best specs, but it only goes so far if you don't have a real nice fluid operating system. And I think Google has made some strides when it comes to customization, right? And everybody wants to customize their phone, and that was one of the downsides, one of the cons about Pixel phones is they're almost too simple. They're almost, dare I say, too boring. You know, when you compare a Pixel to Samsung, the operating systems, it's not even comparable. Like, you can theme and customize everything under the sun on a Samsung phone with One UI. You can customize everything under the sun on a OnePlus 15 with Oxygen OS, or soon to be Color OS. I mean, literally everything has a setting. And it's just not like that with Pixel. At least it hasn't been in the past. And just over this, I would say last 10 months, or let's say last 2 years, the last major operating system, just with the introduction of Android 16, and now I think rolling into 17, you've really seen Google start turning the tide when it comes to allowing you to customize your phone. Theming your phone, custom icons, custom live wallpapers. See what I'm saying? You weren't able to do that in the past, and now just recently they're allowing you to do that. So I think somebody got into their ear, or they sat down at the table and said, look, here's what our operating system does, but look what our competitors can do. Right? I'm not even talking about iPhone, because that's as boring as it gets. With all these other Android phones, you can do a bunch of cool shit with your phone. And I think just now, Google's starting to realize that and allowing users to customize their phones a little more. So I think they need to, and I think they will. As time goes on, they're going to allow more and more settings, more and more customization, more and more theming as time goes on. And I think the operating system, it's very simple, very easy, very fluid. So I think you have that to be excited about moving into the future. Now, one thing we are not going to be excited about is the price. So I think at this point, everybody knows everybody's raising the prices on their devices. It's said that Google is going to raise their prices of these devices up by $100 across the board. So whatever device you got, or whatever device that was priced last year, you're going to add $100 on top of that. Now, Google is doing away with 128 gig models this year, and they're going to start out at 256. Now, remember, you're only getting 12 gigs of RAM when you pair it with 256 gigs of storage. It's only when you increase your storage to 512 or 1 terabyte, that's when you get the 16 gigabytes of RAM. So essentially, if you're used to getting 256 gig models, well, and you want that extra, you're going to need it. The extra 4 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of RAM, to bump it up to 16 gigs of RAM. You're going to want, it's unfortunate because you can't just buy the 16 gig of RAM, 256 gig model. You're going to have to bump up to the 512 model. So what I was saying is, if you got the 128 gig last year with 16 gigs of RAM, well, now you're going to have to not only go to 256, you're going to have to go to 512 just to get this 16 gigs of RAM. So it does suck, but I don't know. There's just nothing we can do in that department. You know, it sucks with these price increases, but you can finance it. You can get it through your carrier. It will be sold at T-Mobile, at AT&T, at Verizon. So if you don't want to pay the full $1,400 up front, You can get it through a carrier. You can put it on a credit card and pay monthly, or you can just buy it outright. But I have yet to figure out what I'm going to purchase mine through. I'm sure I'll just go through Google, like I always do. So let's look at the colors, because colors was another thing, and here's another change. More proof that Google is actually listening to me. Who would have thought? Google actually listens to me? Wow. Because it seems like everything that I've dogged them on in the past, they're starting to change that. Now, before we get on to colors, let's get this 200 charging cycle limit thing talked about real quick. So starting with the Pixel 9a and the Pixel 10 series, Google said that after 200 charging cycles, because they want you to take care of the battery, after 200 charging cycles, they cut your charging speeds in half, they slow it down, and they cap your battery at 80%. Instead of 100%, they're capping it at 80%. They want you to take care of that battery. Well, I was pissed off because they're forcing me to do that. Now, if you charge your phone once a day, that's one charging cycle, right? Well, if you charge it 200 times, it roughly comes out to just over 6 months. So that's why I was pissed off at Google, is after 6 months of use, you're just going to tank my charging speeds. Now, we haven't heard anything from Google as far as if they're going to continue that on this Pixel 11 series. They did say in the past, when the 9A was launched and even the 10 series, that this new feature, battery saving feature, was going to be on all new devices moving forward. Meaning all new devices, even moving forward, even the new Pixel 11 series with blazing fast charging. How are you going to go from the slowest charging device on the Pixel 10 to the fastest charging device on Pixel 11? But then after 200 charging cycles, we're going to move you back down to slow charging. What? Look, Google, I know you watch my channel. All I'm asking is make it optional. You can keep that in there. Just make it optional. And maybe you could even make it a non-option once you get to 365 charging cycles. Like let people that want to buy your phone and enjoy it for a whole year. Let us enjoy it for that whole year. Don't tank the charging after 6 months, right? Make it optional up to 365 charges, which is 1 year, because I'm going to upgrade to the Pixel 12, duh. I never hold on to my phones for more than a year, but, whatever. Put that charging limit at a year, and then after that, make it optional, right? Make it optional up to 365 charging cycles. And then after 365 charging cycles, you can fully enable it, right? But we don't know. We don't know what they're going to do on that. They're very tight-lipped on the 200 charging cycle limit thing. And I've been called out. I've been called a liar, but it's a real thing. Just do your homework. It's online. Let's see. So let's get into the colors. Because as I mentioned, I think they're actually taking some of my advice. Because I want to show you something. Let me pull this photo up. So look at this. Let me move my there we go. Well, it's good for, let me see if I can get a better, shit, none of these are good. Oh well. Let me get a good picture of it, damn it. Can y'all see that? All right, so it is what it is. So here is the Pixel 11 series in real life, real photos. Now they're not having a white color this year. They're going to actually have the closest thing to white is going to be the fog, which is interesting because if you see that blue pixel, these are 3 out of the 4 Pixel 11 Pro XL colors. 3 out of the 4. Now the one that's missing is like a pine green, like a darker shade of green. Not a dark shade. It's like a forest green kind of. Anyways, that one's missing. But the official color for the white, or the closest thing to white, is going to be fog, F-O-G. And if you look at that picture, it actually looks light blue. So that light blue one's going to be the closest thing to white, which is going to be fog color. And then they have that pinkish one, right in the middle. But where I think they listened to me is the black one. So I've been stressing for years now. I love the way Pixels look, the design language, the aesthetics, but I don't like the colors. Flat out don't like the colors, and it's due to one thing. It is the mid-frame of the phone. So my issue with Google, or with the Pixels, is the colors that don't match the border of the phone. So let's say for the what colors did they have? Typically on the Pro, in the Pro XL, what Google will do is they'll have a color on the back of the phone, but around the edge of the phone, the border of the phone, the mid frame of the phone, on the Pro and the Pro XL, it'll be a shiny metal that'll resemble that color on the back, but it's essentially a shiny metal. It's a fingerprint magnet, and I don't like it. Sure, it looks elegant, but when you start using it, it looks disgusting. I was saying for the longest, I wish Google would color match the back and the sides of the phone to one color. Now, they strangely do that, but only on the non-Pro models, meaning the base Pixel 10, you could get a blue pixel, and then the border, the sides of the phone would be that same color. It looks fantastic. But they don't do that when it comes to the Pro and the Pro XL. This year, they're going to do both. And I know what do you mean they're going to do both? Well, let me explain. On the fog color, the blue one there, and the pink one, you see right there? They're sticking to their old traditional ways of what I don't like, meaning that blue and that pink are going to have a shiny chrome mirror-like border around the phone that'll be tinted like the color on the back. So if you see that blue in there, you're going to have that light blue back, and then you're going to have a shiny bluish tinted mirror accent that borders the phone. On the pink one, you're going to have the pink back, but then you're going to have a goldish, pinkish, shiny border around the phone. Now we move on to the black. That's where I think they're testing the waters when it comes to this color thing. The black one is black on the back, and around the borders, it's black as well. That's the one to get, at least for me. I know I'm weird when it comes to this stuff, but I think it looks way better. How the black one is going to come this year with the sides that color match the back. I've always thought they needed to do that, and I think they're testing it out on this black model to see the reception of people when they get that color, and that's the one that I think I'm going to get. I liked the blue at first, but now that I know that the black one has an all black border and not just a shiny border, I think that's going to look pretty freaking cool. Let's see here. I think there was another picture. Let's see here. Sorry, I got off on a tangent and I didn't see the comments. I apologize. Should also compare versus Pixel 10 and Pixel 9. I should, and I'll probably do that tomorrow because I've been super, super busy today. We'll do that. Now, it's probably best to do that actually when we get the phone in, because technically the scores that we got today should resemble something fairly close to the final product. But remember, it is a pre-released unit. So I'll definitely do that because I do have scores from previous models, but I actually want to get it in here. And I have a Pixel 10 Pro here. I'll do that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we're going to test all that stuff. But yes, that's a very good point. Answered your question? Okay, perfect. Here we go again with the GeekBench scores. I know. Look, benchmark scores aren't everything. We all know that. But they are something. They're not everything, but they are something. Hey, when it comes to Pixel, when it comes to benchmark scores, there could be such thing as no benchmark score, as no benchmarks, meaning like if benchmark testing was not a thing, if benchmarking was just not a thing, like if there were no apps to test performance on these phones, I don't think anybody, I shouldn't say anybody, there's always one person, right? I don't think there would be anybody complaining, to be completely honest with you. Out of the Pixels I've used now, I have had, if you go back, I'm not just kissing their ass, if you go back in some of my videos, particularly in the last year and a half, about a year and a half with the Pixel 9 series, I had a bad experience with that, right? Very choppy, couldn't even edit videos. Now, I think that was due to the beta program I was enrolled in with that device, but it wasn't a good experience, right? Now, again, I was on the beta program, and that could have been the issue. Now, my Pixel 10 Pro has been sitting in the drawer over there for the last 6 months because I hit the 200 charging cycle limit, and it just takes 2 hours to charge, and who has time for that, right? So I'm hoping, that's why I had my fingers crossed with this launch, because I do want to go back to using Pixel, but it's like a love-hate relationship. I really, really love using them, but it really grinds my gears. It really pisses me off with little things like that. Like, why should it take 2 hours to charge my phone? Like, really? You see what I'm saying? And then with the whole beta with the Pixel 9 series, it probably was due to the beta program, and I think I unenrolled it when I traded it in or when I sold it. But so yeah, I haven't had the best experience. But if I gave you a Pixel 10 Pro XL and you didn't benchmark the thing at all, there were no benchmark scores, a Pixel 11 Pro XL, the upcoming Pixel 11 Pro XL, if I gave you one of those and you were not allowed to test it, nobody talked about any benchmark, I don't think there would be any issues when it comes to strictly performance. I just don't, right? I just don't. In the past, I never had any problems. Minus those two. But performance-wise, I'm talking about normal daily operations on the phone. I'm talking about, in the past, I never had problems editing videos. Now, it might take a minute or two longer to render a 1080p video, or if you're making a video for TikTok or YouTube, it may take an extra minute or two just because the raw power, the horsepower isn't there, but it still does it fine, right? In the past, it may take a couple extra minutes, but it still does it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, the overall fluidity is fast, it's snappy, it's fluid. I don't think you would have any issues, quite honestly. Let's see here. Well, so far for the Pixel 11 is looking like a decent upgrade, and honestly, it's what the Pixel 10 should have been. Yeah, I think there were I don't want to speak for them. I'm not in contact with anybody over there at Team Pixel or the Pixel department. But I think they're hearing after a good the heat's been on them these probably last 2 years, right? Because with the Pixel 9, they introduced that all new style, right? The look of the Pixel, and that caught them a lot of good press. I mean, it's a beautiful looking phone, but when you bring the same kind of style again, and it just doesn't look, I think the Pixel 10 series, I think they wish they could have it back. Now, I guess I'm speaking for them, but in my opinion, as a user, again, mine's been sitting in the drawer for 6 months. Why Google? Why? You see what I'm saying? Like they have been very good phones, but I think they're starting to hear the noise online. I'm telling you, have y'all seen this? There's been a ton of people saying, oh, it's another trash Pixel phone. Oh, this, oh, that. Well, if you look at the spec sheet, if you sit down and honestly look at the spec sheet, when they launch this on Wednesday, on August the 12th, if you look at everything that they're throwing in this phone, it looks like they're making an honest effort to take them up a notch as far as the device, the hardware. I'll give that to them. I will 100% give that to them. It looks like they're actually making an effort this year, and they're putting a lot of upgrades into these devices. So I think, this is probably what the Pixel 10 should have been, right? And again, I'm not in these meetings. I don't know what's said and what's debated in the boardroom meeting, and of course they have budgets. They can't go over certain price for their speakers, for the vibration motor, for the display, for the cables, the antennas. There's stuff that has to be cut. Oh, we don't have money for that. Oh, see if you can renegotiate that supplier to see if they can bring them down 2 cents from that part. Like, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I'm just not privy to, obviously. But from the outside looking in, honestly, this year, it looks like they're making an effort, in my eyes, to take this up a notch. Because, look, there is a ton of competition. The mobile phone industry is so hard to succeed in. And competition, they are bringing it. Samsung with the S26 Ultra, it's a really good device. And Samsung is going to take that up a notch with this S27 Ultra. I'm going to probably put out a video tomorrow or the next day. The S27 Ultra looks to be absolutely incredible. So Google has to bring it if they want people to buy their devices. And I think they finally, maybe their heads were in the clouds the last couple of years. Maybe they weren't looking at the noise from the outside. Maybe they weren't reading the comments. Maybe they weren't watching these videos on social media platforms. But they're getting dogged a lot. And rightfully so. As I mentioned, I didn't have the best experience over the last year or two. So rightfully so. I think, and I just hope, we get over this hurdle to where they're back to being a respectable device in the eyes of the public, right? At least that's what I hope. In fact, I think the Pixel 11 is going to be kind of what the Pixel 7 was for the 6. So essentially a refined version of the previous device. I think that's exactly what it is. I think that's exactly what it is. You're 100% right. The GPU seems to be an improvement as well, pretty good one as pixels are concerned. That is concerning, and how this was released on pre-release software. I'll bet it'll score and perform much better. I think so too. And did you hear at the beginning where a lot of people online? There's 2 GeekBench versions. There GeekBench 7, the newest version of GeekBench, was just released. And I know even I thought right out the gate, oh, new GeekBench version. Let me download it. Let me test these devices. Well, you get lower scores on GeekBench 7 than what everybody is used to, the old GeekBench 6 that we've become accustomed to for the last few years. Well, people were taking that people don't understand that. And so that's where a lot of that noise is coming from. People see this Pixel 11 Pro XL tested on the new GeekBench 7 application, and they see the scores are lower. And so they automatically, oh, look how trash that is. Look how low they are. But they don't know that all devices score lower on the GeekBench 7. So that's common I tested all my devices. All of them score significantly lower. So it's not just a Pixel thing. So you're going to, again, people don't get that. People don't understand that. But that's why it scored lower. And that's why you'll see lower numbers, because there's two sets of numbers floating out there. There's GeekBench 7 scores floating out there, and there's GeekBench 6 scores floating out there. But the only one that'll get attention is the GeekBench 7 scores, because it's shocking it scored so low. But people don't understand that that's normal for all devices to score lower on the newest version of GeekBench. So, it is what it is. But I think the scores will improve. They have shown, and here's the good thing. Google's not just putting this phone out and then backing off. Because with the Pixel 10 Pro, did everybody remember the hideous GPU scores? Well, all throughout this past year, all throughout these last 12 months, they've actually pushed a number of updates to improve that GPU. So that they will be working behind the scenes 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 10 months from now, with each and every update. Not each and every month you're going to get better and better benchmark scores, or should I just say performance? But they do work on that behind the scenes. So it will get better with time. It will get more optimized. It will be more fluid. And remember, Google is working on a new version of Android. I think they're going to, not necessarily a new version of Android, but remember, they're going to refine Android to use less RAM. And they're going to put that out pretty freaking quick. I think they're going to do it this month, if not next month, in next month's update. Because remember, the base Pixel 11 is only going to have 12 gigs of RAM now. You only get 16 when you go up to the 512 gig. So they want their Pixels running good on Android. It will not look good if they launch Pixel 11 and the base models just, stuttering along, buffering along. No, they want them to run good. So I think we're going to see an update here. Now, that goes for all other Android devices too, not just Pixel. That update they're going to push in this month or next month is going to make your phone be less RAM dependent. So it should run smoother, cleaner, should get better battery life. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about everybody else. Let's see. Definitely need better battery life for sure. One of the biggest weaknesses. They're going to improve it this year. They're big time. I will guarantee you're going to get better battery life. You're getting a new, more efficient CPU. You're getting a new, more efficient OLED display. You're getting a new, more efficient modem. And you're getting slightly bigger batteries. So all four of those things equals better battery life, for sure. Very few people talking about the new modem, 2nm chip, or M16 Samsung OLED screen. People went flashy and big new features. I like this design. I just want better battery, maybe thermals and video. I think you're going to see it this year. We're going to be getting one. And that's what, essentially, you summed it up, what my thoughts are on this new Pixel series. Yeah, I want to see that too. And look, if we get one in and I don't see any improvement, I'll certainly let you know. They're not sending me anything, so I'm going to be purchasing this with my own money. So I'll certainly let you know. So make sure you subscribe to eSIM Studios, and we'll certainly be doing a bunch of testing over here. Still can't get over 200 charging cycles. I'll pass this year and get a Galaxy S27. Fair choice. Look, you have every right to do that. I I still anticipate them. They haven't said that they're not going to do the 200 charging cycles. You see what I'm saying? And I said I was not going to buy another Pixel until they get rid of this. They were kind of tight-lipped on this because, look, I think when they made this decision, they knew the public was not going to like that decision, but not many people know about this. It's just the real nerdy people like myself that know about this. Like most people that buy, like my dad, my family, who I just tell them to buy Pixels, they don't have any idea. They probably don't even care. They're like, whatever, you know. But to me, it's a big thing. Now, how will we know if they remove the 200 charging cycle limit? I don't know. Because there was a press release when they implemented this. In fact, you can still find it online. I don't know if they'll say something about it. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if I do hit a 200 charging cycle limit, or let's say on my 205th charge, it's taking forever, we'll know then. And then I'm going to sell it. Or it's going to sit in my drawer for 6 months. But I'll probably sell it. But the S27 is going to be... Like, I don't think people realize how big of an upgrade Samsung's going to put in this S27 series. I was going to do a video about this over the weekend. I just didn't get around to it, but I definitely am going to do it here in the next day or so because it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. They're finally going to spec everything out. I'm not even joking. So those days of where, I wish they put this in there. Oh, why didn't they put that in there? Well, at least next year. I don't know about 3, 4, 5 years from now, but at least this upcoming S27, they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink in it. Now, it may cost a little more, but Samsung's selling out these Fold 8s that are $2,000. Right? So I keep on telling these phone companies, if you build it, we will come. Meaning, if you put a badass phone out, people will buy it. Yeah, it's going to suck. It may be $100 more expensive, $150, $200 more expensive. Doesn't look like it's holding back anybody from buying a Fold 8. Samsung just broke sales records. A new report came out today saying they sold 5 million Z Fold 8s. What? That's like their entire sales from all last year. They just did that in 2 weeks. So a $2,000 device. So it's clearly not stopping anybody from buying a badass phone. So I think now that Samsung sees this, like, let's just throw the best specs in it. Duh. That's what we've been asking for you this whole time. You know? The price of the hardware, yeah, well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, but I certainly understand that. I'm going to wait in the past, yeah. I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see, get this one in and see what we have, and I'll make that, my opinion, my final determining opinion for value, I guess. That will have to wait after we do testing and I use it for a couple weeks. But we shall see. We shall see. Isn't the blue one base Sterling Light variant? I went through colors today, and I think that's the fog. I think that's the fog color. I don't think that is the... Where's my browser? Let's see. Here's the Pro. That's the Pro right there. That's what I was telling you earlier. They're finally going to color match, but it's just on the black model. Now, I went through these earlier today. I have it on my phone. I think that's the... Hang on. Let me pull up... So there's the black one. There's the... I don't even know what you call that. They got all these weird names. That... What is that? Let's do this. New colors. Yeah, we know that. Okay, so leaked photo shows Pixel 11 series lined up together in all launch colors. So, show retail packaging for Pixel 11 series, except for Pixel 11 Pro Fold. The image shows a Pixel 11 in light sterling. You were right. You were right. It is the Pixel 11 in light sterling. I got it mixed up with the fog from another publication that I looked at earlier today. A Pixel 11 Pro in Dune, and then the Pixel 11 Pro XL in black. So that's correct. Actually, is that the Pro? It looks big, no? A Pixel 11. Or does that... Damn, I hate how the photo is cut off because you can't see the labeling or anything. Well, anyways... Interesting. So that is the... So they're saying that's the Pixel 11 in sterling. Is it sterling silver? Light sterling. I'm going to just call it light blue or blue. So that's the light Pixel 11. That's the Pixel 11 Pro. And a Pixel 11 Pro XL. So Pixel 11, Pixel 11 Pro, Pixel 11 Pro XL. Huh. Interesting. We got more leaks. Yeah, that would be the Pixel 11 right there in sterling. Any more? Let's see. No, I don't see anything. Let's do this. Screw that. Screw that. Let's see. Yo, what happened to the comments? Great. No, I can't see any of the comments. Man, I tell you what. All right, so let's see here. I have to read them off of my phone. So it's hard to overlook its specs when comparing it to other Androids, particularly Chinese ones. It sure is. Would you take a Pixel or a Motorola? What do you mean? Like, which Motorola? Definitely not taking a shitty Motorola. But honestly, I'd probably take, well, you ask me this in about a week and I'll let you know. It depends. Probably Pixel, just because even though the Motorola has phenomenal cameras or the sensors, I don't think it's fully optimized for the badass sensors, if that makes any sense to you. Like I think the Motorola, the freak. I think the Motorola has, like I mentioned, really, really good sensors. As you know, it has, I think, the same sensors that the Oppo Find X9 Pro has on them. But I don't think the Motorola developers, have fine-tuned them to its max performance, meaning squeezing the very best performance out of those sensors. I don't think Motorola has hit it like Oppo has done. And I think when it comes to photo quality, I think that's the reason why I probably might go with Pixel. Now, video-wise, I don't know. Probably Pixel, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I still want to know. Well, I'm taking Motorola for just for the simple charging thing, right? I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait and see after launch. I would say I would reach out to them and ask them about the 200 charging cycle limit, but they would never respond to me. So why does it even matter? But I would like to know if that's still being implemented. I just don't know. Pixel subreddit Android Authority Police 925 Google, mostly negative on the Pixel 11. Yes, it's amazing. I haven't seen this much hate, and rightfully so. Like I said, Google's done it to themselves, but I think everybody's just automatically defaulting to dogging this device. But if you take a step back and you actually look at what they're doing to this Pixel 11 series, it's kind of impressive. So, and obviously we'll have to wait and see when we get the device, especially with the charging thing. I would love to believe them on that. I'm not saying they're lying to us. That's in their marketing material. The 55% charges up to 55% in 5 minutes. Like, if that's a real thing, it's pretty impressive. The new OLED panel, pretty impressive. The new modem, it's going to be badass. I think it's going to be a pretty good phone. So, yeah, I don't understand where all this is coming from, but I think people just automatically default to shitting on them, right? Again, they did it to themselves, but this year I think they're turning it around. The metrics that are more based on real user experience, yeah. Humble Dreamer says, you're so late. Yeah, I'll probably been on here for about an hour. I'm probably going to get off here. I wanted to talk Z Fold 8 sales, but I'll probably save that for tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to save that for tomorrow. We have one here and also have a flip that I need to do more content on. I've just been very, very busy today. Let's see. Google Pixel 12, will they have a new design? I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know where they can go with this design. Like, I don't know what more. I would like for them to sit on it for another year or so. I mean, I don't want to turn into like an Apple iPhone over here where they sit on a design for essentially 7 years. But I'm not really sure what more they can do to this design, like tweak it a little more. Because, from the Pixel 10 to this Pixel 11, they take off that little half moon on that camera island. They'll remove that to where now it's fully glass. So it's a subtle change. But talking about from the Pixel 11 to the Pixel 12 next year, I have no clue. I mean, I'm sure that's where they hire people to do design stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it gets smaller. Oh, I also heard this year that the Pixel 11, that camera island, on previous Pixels, how it's a real big camera island, meaning it sticks out really far from the back of the phone. I heard this year they trimmed it down. So it's not going to stick out as far from the back of the phone as it did on the Pixel 10. I would like to see a completely flush. That would be dope. Like the 9A, where that little camera pill is completely flush, flat with the rest of the back of the phone. That would be really cool. You're about to pick up your second brand new OnePlus 15. Oh man. What color? Did you get both colors? You had one black and one... Oh, I guess there's three. There's black, sandstone, and then the purple one. Purple one at first thought looks pretty girly. Like purple phone. I'll pass. But when you look at it, it looks different with the naked eye. I don't know. It looks completely different. Not completely different, but it doesn't look so bad in real life shots. You would like the photos and external design of the Pixel 10 Pro and Pro XL. Too bad they have abandoned the CPU race. Hopefully the battery life lives up to the hype. They've abandoned that race a long time ago. How is the GPU in the Google Pixel 11 Pro? Or should I get a Samsung S26 Ultra? I would say wait. Wait. If you can, wait. We're gonna get a Pixel 11 Pro XL. Wait till we get it in-house. I'm going to test it. I got all the flagships here, so we'll put them against each other. And again, it's not all about performance. A lot of it is, but it's not everything. I get it. It's hard to say. It depends on what you do on your phone. Depends on how you use your phone. It really does. And obviously, that's going to be up to you. Now, you can ask me which one would I choose, and I'll tell you. But I will never say, you got to get this phone over that phone. Everybody's different. Everybody uses their phone differently. So, I don't get people that tell you, like, I think I mentioned it was one time. There's this one YouTube channel where the dude, like literally on every thumbnail, it says, just buy it. Every phone he reviews, just buy it. Just buy it. Just buy it. You're never going to see me do that. I'm never going to tell you to go buy a phone. Like, I just think it's so stupid. You got nice. You got the purple one. But I just picked up the Sandstorm color to add to my collection. Swifttronics. Nice. Clickbait. It could be. It could be clickbait. We'll just have to wait and see. We shall wait and see. Time will tell, my friend. Time will tell. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. It's rolling up about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So do appreciate your time. Come back tomorrow. We're going to discuss the Z Fold 8. Those amazing sales. What is better, the Flip 8 or the Ultra? I have no clue. I don't have the Fold 8 Ultra. I don't even like that kind of form factor. So you might call me crazy. I'd rather use a Flip 8 over a Fold 8 Ultra. That's just me. But I just don't like those foldables. Sorry. But come back tomorrow. We're going to discuss the amazing sales records that Samsung has broken with this Fold 8. It's incredible. I still have a hard time believing a $2,000 phone is just smashing records left and right. But everybody, I didn't say everybody. I saw one person, I think my wife was showing me one bad review. She found one bad review out of hundreds of people just gushing all over this Fold 8 like it's some revelation. And it might be, but you meant S26 Ultra? I'm taking the S26 Ultra all day over the Flip 8. Better cameras, better battery life, faster charging, S Pen, a little bigger real estate when it comes to the screen. I'm taking the S26 Ultra all day. It's not even, I don't even got to think twice. Yeah, it probably is. It probably is. I mean, look, and I'm gonna discuss this more in length tomorrow, but there's a reason why I didn't fight her over using that phone. Like, yeah, it's cool. I think it's a good idea on that form factor, meaning like that smaller passport style. But I have some really intricate, detailed thoughts, some specific reasons why I have zero interest in that phone. That I'll probably explain tomorrow. But yeah, it's amazing. I don't remember seeing a phone, and maybe you could refresh my memory, but I can't think of a phone where literally every review you see, they're just, oh my God, this is the best thing since whatever. It's amazing. It's, I don't get it, but, I mean, I do get it, but I don't get it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can see why, and it's a cool little device. Like, I played around with it, but as soon as I recorded my unboxing, I gave it to her. I get why it's getting attention, but actually using it as your main phone, no, I'll pass. $2,000. Yeah, no problem. And if you make sure you subscribe to eSIM Studios. And I love answering questions and discussing with you, certain situations and certain scenarios. But yeah, I've had every flip ever made, but it's not my main phone. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've always had a main phone, and then I'll carry a second phone, sometimes even 3 phones. I feel like an idiot doing that, but it's fun to play around with. But the cameras are not as good as the S26 Ultra. The battery life is not as good as the S26 Ultra. The charging speeds are not as good. The display is not as good, right? It's a full 1080p plus display, not real 2K. In the S Pen. So, it's a fun, the Flip is fun to have. And maybe that's like the Fold 8. It's a cool little, it's fun, but I'm not using that as my main phone. Hell no, the cameras suck. Kind of let the cat out of the bag, but it's basically what it comes down to. The cameras on the Fold 8, they're okay, but as soon as you zoom in, their quality falls off a cliff. I'm not using that thing. I just buy a tablet. Honestly, I'll just go buy a S11 tablet, the little 11-inch Samsung tablet, and call it a day. Yeah, we'll have to get into that at some point with the Apple iPhone Ultra. They're saying that, I know, I've seen that online. And look, we honestly don't know who started that design first. Yeah, Samsung beat Apple to the market with the passport style foldable, but who actually had the idea? Who actually sketched up that design first? Was it Apple or was it Samsung? We will never know, honestly. Yeah, like I said, Samsung beat them to the market, but who knows? We will never know who really copied who. Samsung's been doing foldables. Oh, we need to have another discussion too. For as many iPhone Ultras as Apple is going to sell, because they're going to break records with this stupid iPhone Fold. It's going to suck. Let's be honest here. Samsung, I might not like the Fold 8, but I guarantee you the software experience on the iPhone Ultra, their new passport style foldable, is going to suck. It's going to blow. It just is. Samsung's been doing foldable software operating systems for 7 years now. They have everything refined down to a T. I mean, the software experience is phenomenal on foldables on Samsung side. Apple is just stepping into the market. So I think the experience is going to suck. Like, oh, but look, it's like a iPad mini. Okay. Whoop-de freaking do. I think the iPhone Fold is going to blow. Software experience-wise, and it's ugly as hell, too. I mean, like, the Z Fold 8 is not the prettiest thing you've ever seen in the world, but the iPhone Ultra, that thing's hideous looking. But that discussion will never die. Who copied who? Well, we'll never honestly know. I do. I have if you jump on YouTube and you search eSIM Studios Motorola Signature, search that term, eSIM Studios Motorola Signature, you'll see my signature unboxing. It's there. Fold 8 Pixel 11 Pro XL. Well, I don't know because I don't have the Pixel 11 Pro XL. I do have the Fold 8, but the Pixel 11 Pro XL is yet to come out. We're going to get one, but it's still going to be a couple weeks till we get it actually in front of me. Now, I'm not the biggest foldable fan, so I'm going to pick personally, my choice is the Pixel 11 Pro XL. But that's just me. I don't like foldables. So, but everybody's different. Oppo, yeah, right. Yeah, Oppo too, with their foldables. I should have mentioned that. Now, interestingly enough, I've never purchased technically an Oppo device. I've had a lot of OnePlus devices, but I intend on change. And I know it's pretty similar to Oxygen OS. I get that. But yeah, Oppo does foldable software, I'm sure, from what I've seen, very well. Very well. And again, that'll blow away anything Apple has. So I'm going to get out of here. I do appreciate the time. Yeah, we'll discuss all this and more tomorrow. So it should be a fun show. I appreciate your time. Please have a safe and enjoyable rest of the evening. And we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.